Hello, my name is Rachel. Thank you guys so much for stopping by my channel. Today I am going to talk about the books I read in the winter months and some books I will be reading going into spring. One of the books I read in the winter months is Adorning the Dark by Andrew Peterson. This is a nonfiction book from this author. He talks a lot about how his Christian faith has shaped his art form. He is a singer, songwriter, and an author. And it's sometimes hard to judge and summarize nonfiction books, but some things I liked about this book, he talked a lot about his journey from going from suburbia to having some land and shaping that land and forming that land into something more beautiful and bountiful and nourishing to the earth than it started with. That is something that I would love to do one day, going from suburbia to more of the countryside, having orchards and farmland. That would be one of my life's dreams. That's one of the stories I love from this book, as well as the phrase, and I'm gonna butcher it, so I'll put it on the screen right here. This phrase basically means longing for, and not just any longing, but inconsolable longing for something. He talked about how many people feel this longing who are Christians for heaven to come down to earth, and I definitely relate to that. Like, I long and have that phrase. Again, I'll leave it on the screen. This inconsolable longing, and just for God's glory to shine. Like, I feel that so immensely throughout my life, and it's been stronger ever since I've had kids as well. Another great concept from this book was allowing God to lead you and guide you. And you might, as a person, start off with one expectation and goal in mind, but God really is going to be the driving force behind where your life leads. And he relates it a lot to his artistry and writing. And I'm not much of an artist, I'm not much of a writer, but I could take those ideas to motherhood and to just my daily walk with God. So this book, it's hard to rate nonfiction, but I would give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Another book that I attempted to read during the winter months, and this has been on my radar for years and years, because a little background to me, before I had children, I would read upwards of 50 books a year. And then when I had kids, it really tapered off. And now I'm about back to like 1 book a month, maybe 2 books a month. So this book, I started it because I was at the library and it was just on a shelf of like recommended reads of one of the librarians loved this book. So I was like, oh, I remember that book. I should check it out. And that book is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I was looking forward to it. And then I DNF'd it, you guys. The pictures, I just could not tolerate the pictures. They just creeped me out. I don't think they added anything to this story. I could have done completely without the pictures. Fine. The other thing, the title of this book, Miss Peregrine's. I made it this far. I have yet to meet Miss Peregrine. And then I did a little more research, and this is like a trilogy, and then there's more books that are on added as well. And I just was like, no, if I'm gonna read a book with multiple sequels, I've got to really like the first book. So I just could not get my head around this. And some of the characters I just really didn't like, and I'm a very character driven reader, so I DNF'd it. Life's too short. Another book that I read during the winter months, A Single Thread. This book, I have a spoiler warning. It has adultery in it. I would not have started this book if I had known it has adultery in it. Just not my cup of tea. But if you can get past the adultery, the friendships in this book are amazing. Now, this book is about a single woman during pre-World War II time. So this is between World War I and World War II. She is one of the surplus women, and she is lonely. And her family life, she was living with her mom, and that relationship is really, really broken. There's some heartache, definitely from the mother and the daughter. So she moves away, and she's living in a city basically all alone, and she stumbles into the cathedral and sees all these beautiful pieces of embroidery, and she has this yearning desire to leave that mark on the cathedral for people for centuries to come and enjoy the beauty of the embroidery. So she joins the embroiderers group there, and that is a fascinating part of this story. Also, one of the fascinating things is the bell ringers of the cathedral. I learned a lot about that, loved that part. But overall, I liked the friendships in this, and I did like the family growth in this. I did not like the adultery at all in this. But overall, I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I will also say that these 2 books I read as part of a online group read with Angie Henderson's channel. So she is known as Science Mama in the homeschool world, so I'm sure many of you watch her videos. So I will leave the link to that book club in the description box. Okay, you guys, the most exciting book that I am still not through yet, but this book is 5 out of 5 stars. This is an amazing book, and it is Project Hail Mary. Oh, I love this book. This book is written so well. From the first page, it is just go, go, go. It is action-packed. No page lets me down. There is some mystery that you are trying to basically solve from the get-go. Now, this story, I'm sure many of you are familiar with because it's all over the booktube world. He wakes up, he doesn't know where he's at, and he basically has to figure out, as the scientist he is, what is going on, and his job is basically to save planet Earth. I am more than halfway through this book, and it is a page turner, and I know that I'm not going to be let down with the ending because I've heard that it is just from start to finish such a good book. And also, this is part of the March reading challenge for Angie Henderson's book club. It's not even March yet when I'm filming this video, and I'm almost done with this book. It's the last day of February. It's fantastic. Now again, I am not primarily a booktube channel, but I am planning every season to talk about the books I'm reading, and to also for the next season kind of look at books I plan on reading. I got interrupted by screaming children. Does that ever happen to you? So in this springtime, I first plan on reading Finley Donovan is Killing It. This is a book about a single mom who is a novelist, and she's kind of stuck in a rut, and so she goes to talk about her book, I think with her agent over lunch, and she's overheard by someone who thinks she is not a novelist but a hit person. The story is that she kind of gets thrown into a life of crime, shall we say, and I think a lot of drama ensues, and I'm very looking forward to this book. And the second book that I have on physical copy that I plan on reading is the Book of Lost Names. Now, this is a book about a woman living in Florida. She's older, I believe, and she sees something that reminds her of a life ago that she long lived. She was a resistance fighter during World War II, and it sounds like this book is a historical fiction about her working as a resistance fighter, basically helping young children out of Nazi control and getting them to safety. and by changing some of their names for their own safety. And I think this is going to be a lot of flashbacks from present time and past time back in the 1940s. So I'm really looking forward to this. I love historical fiction, so I can't wait to dig into this one. Well, that is everything that I have read in the winter and I'm currently reading. And those are two of the books that I plan on reading in the spring. So if you have any book recommendations, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to consider them for future reading. I hope you enjoyed this video, and wherever you are, I hope you are having a fantastic day. Bye.